How many times can someone disappoint you before it stops being a mistake and becomes a pattern?
Good question, Quentin. And what I think is that a lot of people stay in relationships based on potential and not on reality. And that's why they stay.
Yes, people usually don't leave relationships too early. They usually leave relationships too late.
Mm. And as I say, because they see potential. And it plays out in the dating world and with couples in marriages. In the dating world, when you meet somebody wonderful, we often see the potential of the relationship that we really would like. And what I see is people then often project onto this person what they want them to be to fit into that box. But they're not even that. But you hold on to the potential, the glimmer that you see of sometimes, yes, this could be that.
Yes, potential is exciting and powerful, especially in the dating world. If we look at couples, there's the potential, and the potential is usually the great moments. In the relationships, there's moments we feel connected, we feel heard, we feel understood, we feel loved, and now people hold onto that potential because it means the relationship can maybe become more of that, and therefore people stay.
People stay. But if the patterns underneath that relationship or connection remains the same, if those patterns are patterns of disrespect and patterns of disappointment, maybe even worse, patterns of abuse, then is that connection really real? You know, is it, it's just a moment of relief. Yeah, what we see is that those in relationships where the connection isn't really a deep connection, the drama expands. They have dramatic experiences in the relationship because that drama makes them feel connected, but it's not real connection, right?
Arguments is definitely a part of any relationship. You can't escape arguments, and conflict can be healthy. It can also be unhealthy. But when arguments is becoming destructive, is when there's patterns of disrespect, a pattern of disappointment, and you stay stuck in this loop of arguments. It's like you don't actually get anything resolved. What I hear many people tell me is we're having the same arguments over and over again. So therefore, they feel stuck. They feel stuck in the relationship itself.
So, and what does it mean if you keep having the same argument over and over?
So what it means your needs are not fulfilled. So maybe you have a need to be respected. You have a need to feel like a priority. But this need just never gets fulfilled. Therefore, you're continuously having the same argument over and over, and the other person's behavior does not actually change. So now you're just hoping for change. And that's where you get stuck in a nervous system, because the nervous system gets hooked onto that good moments, because you have moments of connection. You have moments where you feel wanted, where you feel loved. So your nervous system then says, let me stay for this potential because there are good moments.
And they can become more.
And they can become more. And therefore, you stay longer than what you should.
But that's a trap. Because if you're talking about the nervous system, that's about safety. And that's about feeling a moment of relief. So, and for those of you watching, look out for our video on what happens in the brain when you get stuck in this nervous system relief anxiety loop. Because when the person is disrespecting, dismissive, or not fulfilling your needs, you feel anxious. But then in those moments that you're talking about now, those moments of connection, those moments of relief, those moments of excitement, of joy, whatever it is, your nervous system feels relief. But then you mistake that relief with love. And then you yearn for more of that thinking, you yearning for more love, yearning for the potential of more of this. But it's a vicious cycle.
The thing you search for is actually emotional safety.
Mm.
But the more you stay, the less emotionally you feel safe.
But here's the hard truth. Potential is not progress. Potential is not growth and relationship expansion. It's actually keeping you stuck.
And potential shows up differently in when you're dating. It's about that fantasy. If you're in a relationship, the potential is you get hooked in hoping for something to change. So that hope, you're holding on to the hope, and that is linked to the potential in the long run.
So that scenario of one day when, then.
Yeah. Or if only this happens. Or if if the children is out of home, then we're going to reconnect again. If I maybe can just communicate better, then the relationship will change. So it's holding on to the hope. The hope becomes the potential. But what it creates, it actually creates a codependency. Because usually the one person is trying much harder than the other person. And now they put in all their energy, their time, their commitment into this relationship, and the other person is just less present.
So they are trying to fix it. They're trying to get to that promised land. They're trying to realize the potential on hope.
And they try to rescue the situation.
So it's when you realize you are consistently trying to stabilize this relationship. That's a good sign that it might be time to walk away. Because that's quite a burden to carry on your shoulders, the safety and stability for the whole relationship.
And that is codependency.
Exactly.
But the more they try to rescue it, the more hopeless they actually feel.
Yes. And that's a vicious downward spiral once again, because it becomes more difficult to leave. Let us know, how many of you have been in a situation where you started dating a person that you were madly in love with and you saw potential and you invested more than that person, and down the line you realize, but it's just not happening. But now you feel like you've invested so much that you keep giving. I know of so many women who want to be married, but they've been dating or even engaged for years. And now it feels like you can't backtrack now. You can't undo all the time that you've invested in this. And the same in marriages, that now the investment becomes more weighty because now it becomes obligations. Now there are children. Now there are financial entanglements. There's emotional entanglements with family and shared friends. And it feels too daunting to unwind that and walk away.
And I think when people get older, it's even more daunting because now how can I recreate my own life without this person due to the financial obligations and the familiarity.
And it's very sad to see and hear the number of people who are stuck in those situations. And it where it was built on hope, it over time becomes a whole hopelessness. And it doesn't have to be. If you can imagine a life where you have your freedom back and your own life back, it's possible. And what is sad for me, the other day I heard a woman tell the story of how she was stuck in such a marriage relationship. Even after divorcing the guy, he was still staying with her, and the financial entrapment continued for 26 years until she finally put her foot down and walked away. But it's the fear that keeps you stuck. And every single person, women and men, that I've heard that have finally mustered the courage to walk away, say, why didn't I do this sooner? It feels more daunting, and understandably so. But if it's the right situation to walk away from, the sooner you do it, the better, because you can't get those years back. That lady can't get 2.5 decades of her life back that was stuck in that situation. But the thing is, when do you know that it's a situation that you need to walk away from?
In reality, arguments is part of any relationship. You can't escape conflict. But when you know it's time to walk away is when this pattern becomes destructive. There's a pattern of disrespect. There's a continuous loop of disappointment. Maybe there's abuse. You just don't feel safe. Emotionally, you don't feel safe. I always say a heart is a home. And when you're in love and you feel, I'm not at home anymore, it's more fear than love, then you actually know it's time to walk away. And what we see when people actually walk away, it's not very dramatic. It's they realize, wow, this hope is just a fantasy. Or if you're maybe in the dating world, maybe this is just a fantasy. It's not really who this person is and who I want them to be. And then it's like, I can just walk away. And then there's peace. And there's a knowingness, this is not for me. And there's something better out there for me.
But you have to believe it. That's
you have to believe it.
Sometimes, that's a different process that you need to work through.
And I think it's a process. And every person's process is differently. But I think what it's important to remember is you must know when it's the time is ready to walk away. Because when you need to walk away, you need to walk away. Because if you stay longer, you actually create resentment towards yourself. And now it becomes a self-destructiveness. And then you start losing yourself and losing your essence and your life force in the long run.
Then that inner critic becomes the dominant voice in your head.
Yes.
So if you are already wrestling with the inner critic, look out for our link to a book that Quentin has written to help you with practical processes on how to silence that inner critic's voice inside your head and start amplifying your own true voice that can help you escape these challenging situations.
And it's a very practical book. It's like I work a lot of people with the inner critic, and I do like 12 sessions working with the inner critic. And in that book, step by step, I explain it to you and I give you the exercises to do so that you can guide yourself through the inner critic at your own time. So it's like a therapist in your pocket.
There we go. So this video is part of our series on self-respect and boundaries. And subscribe to the channel IQRelationships to follow the series and get some practical tips on how to build healthy, lasting relationships. See you in the next one.
Thank you for watching.